Welcome to Ursa Sparx, the Ursa Majors Group podcast series, where we aim to illuminate different personalities across STEM industries and academia in order to inspire the next generation of students to pursue and excel in different STEM fields. On today's episode, we have Jered Hoff, a product marketer at Collins Aerospace with a background in computer science and mechanical engineering. Jered brings a perspective which ties together the business world and the engineering world with his years of expertise in one of the world's top aerospace companies. Jered, thanks so much for joining us. Let's dive right in.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for hosting me, Rushil, and it's good to see you again. And hopefully, we can help spread some knowledge and motivation for the youth.
Yep, glad to hear it, Jered. So, before we get started with a little technical back and forth, let's get to know you a little bit. How about, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? How'd you get into aerospace and kind of your journey from maybe even high school all the way to the industry?
Yeah, for sure. So, my name is Jered Hoff. As Rushil mentioned earlier, I'm currently part of the avionics product marketing team at Collins Aerospace. I have been with the company for 12 years now, and as Rushil mentioned, of course, every aviation journey uh, backs up many, many years. And so I am from a smallish town in Minnesota. As a kid, my mother would say, obsessed with airplanes. And so my passion for aviation started young and continued to evolve as I got older. And so uh, my older brother actually was a pilot. And so I had lots of exposure to aviation as a kid. And as time went on, I became more and more interested. And so as I was going through my middle school and high school years, I was, of course, participating in various programs at school, whether it's sports or academics or extracurriculars, and it became clear that I was bound to become an engineer and work with the STEM related opportunities as my life evolved. I was really into mathematics, physics, the science classes and whatnot. I participated in language and language arts and English and stuff like that as well because you had to. It just necessarily was not my primary interest. And so once I graduated high school, or as I was getting ready to graduate high school, it was time to pick my next phase of life. And my family was highly encouraging me to go to college, and that's what I did. And so I went to Iowa State University. I was part of the College of Engineering. I studied aerospace engineering and computer science. I had lots of credits and extra work to be able to manage both of those areas of study. Um, it was not necessarily easy, however, it was very rewarding. So as the years went by and I was participating in my undergraduate degrees, I started pursuing career opportunities. And so I, with a little bit of luck, found Collins Aerospace. The business has gone through various mergers since I joined the business. So I joined the business back in 2014. At the time, the business was named United Technologies Aerospace Systems, UTC Aerospace Systems. And so the reason or how I was able to find the business is where a little bit of luck came in. During my school, we were required to um, attend career fairs. It was part of the curriculum for our engineering courses. And so a career fair is where all these companies come to the university in a big auditorium or something like that. They have booths, and it's an opportunity for students to meet hiring managers. And so I was a young man. I had my new suit on. UTC Aerospace Systems was on the banner, and I said, "Aerospace. I'm studying aerospace. I should go talk to them." I had literally never heard of the company uh, going into the career fair, so I waited in line. I met one of the hiring managers that was there at the event, and he ended up hiring me to be a summer intern. And so, that's again where I consider a little bit of luck because, I had no idea that morning that I woke up that I would eventually be working for the company that I met there at the career fair. And so, once I completed my internships, I went for my first internship and then back to school. I was lucky enough to be asked to continue on. So I actually interned 4 times for Collins, or which eventually became
Yeah.
Collins,
Yep.
and came on full time right after graduating my undergrad. And so since then, I've been working with various parts of the business, which are continuing to evolve and what has now become the largest aerospace company in the world. So again, a little bit of luck, a lot of hard work, and a lot of interest in aviation is what's driven me to get to this point in the career.
No, that's great, Jared. I know you started off as one of the youngest guys. You're turning into a bit of an old timer now at Collins, I can assume.
Hey, hey, hey. I'm kidding. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I am
Yeah.
starting to. The gray hairs are starting to come in.
No, I'm just messing around. But going back to your college days, with aerospace and computer science, how do you feel like those learnings are still carried forward today? How do they still impact your career? And how do you feel like they're going to impact your career growth and trajectory overall?
Yeah, good question. So, your education in your career is your foundation. That's at least how I look at it. And so, to be honest, there are many things that I learned back in my university days that I do not exercise whatsoever anymore.
Mhm.
So, my career path was molded by or was directed by the foundation that was laid at Iowa State when I was studying my undergrad. And so, I was studying aerospace engineering and computer science. And so aerospace, a lot of what you learn there is aerodynamics and propulsion systems. We even had like rocket science courses where we
Mhm.
were studying how to build rockets to go to the moon. And so lots of different physical attributes of how aerospace works. The other side of the coin was my computer science studying, learning programming languages and how to attack various projects and challenges and initiatives from a programmatic point of view. And so my landing at Collins was kind of a happy medium because at
Mhm.
Collins we build lots of avionics, which is the electronics and computer systems of the aircraft. And so it was kind of a happy medium, right? I was still in the aerospace industry, but I was exercising the electronics and computer science side of my studies. And so as my career continues to evolve, I lean on my experience all the way back to, the university days to just have understanding and knowledge of how things are built, why they are built that way, and why or how it needs to evolve to become like the next generation of technology that the next generation of aircraft are going to need.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great, Jared. And then within your career, you've kind of transitioned more to a product marketer and a business development role. Is that something you envisioned from the start, or is that something that kind of came about as you moved through?
Yeah, so the way that worked for me was I I started in engineering, right? A real engineering role where I was supporting installations of product on aircraft. And so I was traveling from hangar to hangar to hangar all over the world, supporting installing next generation avionics equipment onto commercial aircraft.
Yeah.
And so as my experience evolved and I worked on more airplanes and more people in the industry, it became pretty clear that I had an opportunity to become part of the business development organization because of the network that I had built, the number of aircraft that I had worked on, the technical experience that I was being exposed to, and then at the end of the day, being exposed to a social component of the business.
Hmm.
And so the the turning point in my career when I look back on it is again a little bit of luck. So I was doing all of these installations, right? And I had all of the, I was knowledgeable of the
Yeah.
product.
Yeah.
And an opportunity came up where there was an airline down in Brazil that was looking to understand more and yeah, from our understanding was a pretty significant opportunity to go and sell some new product to. This is where the luck came in. So the team gets together and says, okay, we got to go to Brazil. We have a very short amount of time to be able to get someone down there. They want to meet like next week. Who
Mhm.
can go? Well, to go to Brazil as an American, you need a visa, and the visa process is not quick. Luckily for me, in my college days, had gone down to Brazil because I had some extended family that lived down there. So I already had the visa.
Wow.
So no one else in the group had the visa. I was knowledgeable enough to at least go down there and, to talk about the product. And I went down there, and that was kind of the end or the start of the end for my engineering days and my movement into the business development and marketing. Um, side of side of
Yeah.
Collins.
Yeah. No, that's actually super interesting. Didn't know that before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like I said, sometimes luck is just as important as skill.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. So moving on from, I guess, your career development and education, kind of more into what you see happening in the industry right now. Could you tell us about an interesting product or technology that's out there, or maybe even one you helped launch with Collins?
Yeah. So the specific part of the business that I work in at Collins today is connected aviation
Mhm.
within avionics. And so what does that buzzword mean? Is really about data-driven decisions. And so, aircraft, modern aircraft, historical aircraft, they produce a whole bunch of data. And in the legacy years of aviation, not much has been done with that data other than fly the airplane. And
Mhm.
so, as time has evolved and as modern compute power has improved, uh, folks have put their heads together and said, we need to start doing more with the data that the airplane is producing. So something that I worked on in the early part of my career was aircraft connectivity, being able to get access to the data that the airplane is producing in a new way. And so as we've been able to offload data and information from the airplane really over the internet, the need and the demand for that data has grown exponentially. And so think about like this data producing airplane, all of the data is confined within the aircraft itself. What we did is we put a device on the airplane that then connects the airplane to the internet and then allows that data that the airplane is producing in its self-contained node to be connected to a network. And so, we started off really bare bones, right? I mean, like in aviation, technology moves slow, and you need to, take baby steps to one, meet the need of the regulator and the comfort of the regulator, but then two, meet the investment profile that's required to work under a certified technology environment. And so, as we started offloading data from the airplane, we were doing it really at like a flight uh, basis. So like
Mhm.
a flight would be completed, all of the data that the device was able to collect would be offloaded down to the ground and into the network for post-processing and whatnot. But as that as we gave airlines and operators access to that information, the itch for the data really started to get stronger. They said, "Oh, well, we need data faster. We need data like while it's happening."
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so some other technology that we've been working on and are in the process of launching is the ability to essentially stream that data, get that data off in real time. And so we're on the cusp of that right
Yeah.
now. There are essentially no aircraft in the world that are flying in a configuration that allows you to be able to do that. However, at Collins, we're on the cusp of unlocking that ability. And so, what that will lead to, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, like as we're able to get real-time connectivity and real-time insights from the airplane, what we'll be able to do with it is with, new AI technologies and whatnot that are coming out, it's really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that kind of touches on my next point as well of where do you see the integration of flight data and AI really going? Do you feel like there's a big boom coming in the near future, or what's your
Hmm.
insight? What's your takeaway?
Yeah, so as now that we have a very large population of connected aircraft that are flying, we've gone from independent nodes that are, producing data but not sharing it with a network to now a whole bunch of aircraft that are connected to this network. We now have access to huge amounts of aircraft data in a lake, if you will.
Hmm.
And so as AI algorithms and AI or publicly available AI systems are becoming, available to a common consumer. The boom, I think, yes, really is coming. And where I think it will primarily go at the beginning is regarding maintenance. And so all of the data that the airplane is producing can lead to some really good insights on how to better maintain the airplane. So like the scenario that operators will want to introduce this new technology to is the situation where an airplane is taken out of service for some reason because of a maintenance issue that could have been predicted. And so as AI systems and whatnot, again, become more and more readily available and more data in the lake is available to whomever has access,
Yeah.
the boom will really, allow operators to um, maintain and fly their aircraft more efficiently. And so for businesses, it's interesting because AI technology used to be very proprietary. The models and whatnot that made it work were kept within the walls of their business. That's changing now, right? I mean, like GPT models and whatnot are
Definitely.
available to the average Joe. And so, what does that do for the market of predictive maintenance?
Hmm.
In my opinion, it creates a race to the bottom, if you've ever heard that term, where now all of a sudden the market can become very saturated because the core technology is going to be available for
Definitely.
for many people and many companies to leverage. And if that is commonly used, what is the special sauce that the big players and the expensive players need to introduce to be able to remain competitive as more and more uh, players in the space are
Hmm.
able to enter because the barrier to entry lowers.
Definitely. No, that's a great insight, Jared. Thank you for that. And kind of keeping on track with this talk about the future of aerospace and coming back to what we do here at Ursa Majors with inspiring the younger generation, do you feel like there are any big trends coming up in aerospace that the younger generation needs to be excited about?
For sure. So, um, the uh, network of aircraft that fly in the United States airspace and the global airspace are becoming more and more connected and way more smart than they've ever been. What I think for sure will happen in my lifetime, and then of course the lifetime of our youth is we'll have airplanes that are highly capable of flying themselves.
Hmm.
And so, as an aircraft becomes more and more connected and we're able in real time to be able to see what's happening remotely on that airplane at 30,000 feet, the barrier for or the technology barrier for an autonomous aircraft becomes lower
Mm.
and lower.
Yeah.
And so, there's very significant challenges regarding autonomy. You
Hmm.
know, every piece of technology that goes into an airplane has to be proven and has to be safe and has to be designed to a certain level of quality assurance. And as we are seeing rapid technology development, we really are opening the Pandora's box, if you
Yeah,
will, in
yeah,
terms of what if capability. What
gotcha.
if it could do this? What if it could do that? And the the youth that are entering the space will see aerospace technology evolve at a rate that it's probably never evolved before. And
Hmm.
so that's exciting. However, it's going to introduce also its new challenges. And so, every challenge creates opportunity. And so, for the youth, I think that aerospace is certainly one of the number one opportunities that will be made available
Yeah.
in their lifetime. And so, if there's anyone listening to this today, by all means, if you have any interest in aviation, check it out.
Yeah. No, thank you, Jered. And then I think that brings us to a good point about talking about our next generation and where really we see them growing, where their opportunities are. And as you mentioned at the start, everything really starts at a young age for these kids, whether it's middle school, high school, college, all of these building blocks lead them to where they want to be. So based on that, kids who want to go into aerospace, STEM, engineering, what skills, what talents do you think they should work on developing as students right now, given that they're middle and high schoolers?
Yeah, great question. So the aerospace industry generally is seen as the cream of the crop. Like this is where the best engineers end up. This is where the best of the best are working.
Yeah.
And so you really need to have ways to differentiate yourself. Getting good grades and all of that stuff is is it it's not it's a requirement for sure, but it's not enough to like really get you out there in this industry. And so something that I think is really important for our industry, especially as it becomes more and more competitive, as more and more people are looking for these jobs that are scarce, to be honest, is that you need to be social. You need to be somebody that can communicate effectively. You need to be somebody that has skills outside of just math and science. And so, the industry is by nature very social, right? We work with a lot of really smart people that are really good at the things that they do. And so to really put yourself out there, you need to become involved in those extracurriculars. You need to find a way to be part of a team, have experience working on a team, have experience working with others and finding ways to lead as challenges are faced. So whether it's the sports teams or the extracurriculars like participating in the arts and whatnot, stuff like that can give you exposure to experiences that you wouldn't get within the classroom are critical to really building up who you are as a person and make yourself more attractive as you enter a really competitive job place market.
No, definitely, Jered. I think that's great insight from you given your experience. And I hope the kids listening to this kind of take that into account and really model what they do in high school around it, like making sure they're paying attention in their classes for sure, but also building who they are holistically and creating their profile throughout their younger years.
Exactly. I mean, to be honest with you, right? Like Rushil, you've done a really good job of getting yourself into Collins Aerospace.
I
Not an easy
appreciate that.
company to get your shoes into. But the reason you got in is not just because you attended a really good university and you had really good grades and stuff like that. It's because someone met you and interviewed you and like, oh, I like this person. I
Mhm.
want to work with them. And therefore, that again is a requirement just as much as having good grades is.
Yep. No, I appreciate that, Jared. It means a lot.
Hey,
But yeah,
no problem.
coming coming back to our talk about business and engineering and kind of your career based around those two, what would you recommend to someone who's not really sure about what they want to go into between these two fields, whether they want to be a full business guy, whether they want to go fully into engineering, or even if they want to blend the two like you have? What would your recommendation, your insight be, given your years of experience?
Well, my my recommendation would be to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So, you're the only way to grow and go and find new opportunities is to be put into a situation where you maybe aren't fully comfortable.
Hmm.
And so, if you're undecided about which direction you want to go, you will have to just, eventually pick something. And so pick what the best opportunity at the time is and go do it really well. And so, if you do what you do really well, eventually the new exciting opportunities, again, that you maybe aren't super comfortable with, they do come. And when it is presented to you, be the yes man. Just say, you know what? Yeah, I'm an engineer and I have a visa that can get me to Brazil. You know,
Yeah.
take the opportunity, go do it. And if it doesn't work out, so be it. At least you tried. So, again, you have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone, do something that uh, maybe you will fail at.
Hmm.
And as long as you're willing to put your name in the hat and put your foot out there, generally it leads to success.
No, that's true. I mean, we've seen it with kind of everyone in the industry, everyone in academia. Hard work kind of beats everything else out when it comes down to it.
Totally. At the beginning of your career, especially,
Hmm.
uh, you're gonna have a job, and it will be well defined, especially if it's in aerospace. Do it well. Just do it,
Yeah,
and continue to do it well. And when those opportunities come, be ready to bounce.
for sure. So, Jared, I think on our end, that's it. We're gonna get into a quick rapid fire section before we kind of close off for the day. But I just wanted to take a moment and thank you for coming on here. I know it's a busy day at work probably, but thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to kind of get a deeper look into your career, your college life, and get insights from you. And hopefully this can inspire our next generation of Ursa Major kids and keep pushing them to work hard.
Yeah, happy to be here, Rushil, and thank you for what you do for the kids.
No, appreciate it, Jared. So before we end off, guys, a quick thing we like to do is a set of rapid fire questions. Not too much thinking on Jared's end, just kind of giving us what he thinks in the moment and then going from there. So, Jared, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Perfect. So, being a private pilot, which I mentioned before, what's your favorite type of favorite aircraft, or even your favorite aircraft that you've flown?
Okay. Favorite aircraft that I've ever flown is a Cirrus SR-22 Turbo. It is a highly powered airplane, very sporty, very maneuverable, uh, great avionics and technology built into it, and yeah, it's a great time.
Perfect. And then next question. If you could have an aerospace job for a day, any job in the aerospace industry, what would it be?
Oh, uh, I've always, I came out of the hangar. That's what my role was as an engineer, and the one job that I always wish I had that I didn't get to have because of license requirements is actually to be the AMP or the technician or the
Hmm.
mechanic working on the airplane. I'm a very hands-on kind of person, and I've always been a little jealous being in the hangar, getting to watch guys uh, turn wrenches and cut wire and whatnot on the airplane. And so yeah, that's for sure what I would do for a day is go be a aircraft mechanic.
Yeah, that's the engineering side coming out right there.
Nah, that's so true, so true.
Yeah. And then last but not least, what is one piece of advice you wish you got when you were younger?
Join the military.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. It's a really good opportunity for young people. I just didn't my family wasn't military. We didn't really know, or I didn't really have a lot of exposure to it. I know my life would be very different today.
Hmm.
And so if I'm not complaining about where I am today, but I think if I would have joined the military, I would have done well. And so if there's anyone that's listening to the podcast today and is interested in the that option, it does lead to a lot of new doors of opportunity. And so I would certainly encourage young people to at least consider it.
Yep, no, for sure. And a lot of, I know coming out of college, a lot of STEM opportunities in the military, just a lot of areas for growth and to do good things.
And great experience for sure.
Yep, yep, for sure. So, Jered, I think that wraps it up with us here at Ursa Sparx. I want to thank you once again for taking the time today and hope you come back one day for another podcast in the future. And from our group here, from the kids watching, a big thank you. This has been another episode of Ursa Sparx, the Ursa Majors Group podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future conversations with leaders in STEM. And as always, keep exploring.